Today we are here to dive into the NextLevel Employer Training Grant Program, and that is one of two programs that has been expanded for the remainder of 2020 thanks to a $50 million initiative of the Governor's Workforce Cabinet called Rapid Recovery for a Better Future. This additional funding has been made possible by the CARES Act, which you might remember as a $2.2 trillion COVID-19 recovery bill that was passed by Congress. So in a moment, Kim Tempel is going to speak with you from Northeast Indiana Works and give you an overview of the NextLevel Jobs program and what that expansion means and brings to Noble County and Northeast Indiana. For the sake of time, we are not going to be fielding any question and answer session here today. However, we have launched a webpage at noblecountyedc.com. Under the COVID-19 menu, you will see a link that says Rapid Recovery FAQ. That page will be your local resource as we learn more and can push that information out for you. That's where you will find those FAQs answered. We've also put a form at the bottom of that page. If you scroll down when you're there, you'll be able to submit any questions you might have after today's presentation. Before we wrap up for today, we will also talk about next steps. So when the video presentation portion has ended, we'll put some information up on screen to talk about setting appointments with our local resources so that we can get you started in your workforce training for the remainder of this year. So thanks again. I hope you can hear me this time. And I'm going to present Kim Tempel in just a moment.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kim Tempel, as Lori mentioned, and I just want to extend a great appreciation to both Lori, Gary, and the Noble County Economic Development Corporation for inviting me to be here today and being the first presenter for the Facebook Live event here in Noble County. So I'd like to get started on what I was tasked to do today and speak about the NextLevel Jobs program that's available through the Rapid Recovery for a Better Future. Some of the things Lori had already mentioned, but just to kick us off, NextLevel Jobs is an initiative that started back in August of 2017, and many changes have taken place over the course of the last couple of years. And most recently, in June last month, the Governor's Workforce Cabinet temporarily expanded this program through Indiana's initiative, Rapid Recovery for a Better Future. Under this NextLevel Jobs program, there are two different grants that's available. The Employer Training Grant, which is specific for employers training individuals or employees. And then there's the Workforce Ready Grant, which is specific for individuals. You can find more information about both of these programs by visiting nextleveljobs.org. Also keep in mind when you're visiting this website, some of the information might be reflected off how the program has previously ran, but there is some information that's specific to the Rapid Recovery for a Better Future, which is through the CARES Act. $15 million of the CARES Act fund has been allocated to the Employer Training Grant, with $5 million set aside specifically for minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses. The Employer Training Grant's purpose is to offset the costs employers incur and provides reimbursement to those employers who train new or existing workers in the state's highest demand jobs and sectors. I do want to stress the new and existing. This is a common question that we get from many employers. This is available for both new and if you're currently training your existing workforce, cross-training, upskilling, any of those could be a qualifier for reimbursement as well. The job demand in sectors really focuses on advanced manufacturing, building and construction, health and life sciences, IT and business services, transportation and logistics, and agriculture industries. The Employer Training Grant Program reimburses employers the cost of training up to $5,000 per employee trained for, again, new or existing workers. One of the changes under the temporary expansion program is that the cap has now increased per employer to $100,000, whereas previously it was $50,000. Requirements, very simple, must be job skills training that ties to an in-demand occupation in one of those identified industry sectors and be at least 40 hours. Employers can use an eligible training provider list that's available through Department of Workforce Development, can use third-party providers, or for many companies that we currently work with, using existing in-house or proprietary training. For existing workers, if they are receiving any sort of training and you're submitting reimbursement for their training, they do want to see, Department of Workforce Development does want to see a wage gain as a result of the completion of training, but we can talk through the specifics of that and how it relates to you and your organization. So in summary, if you're training your workforce, you should be taking advantage of this program. And if you're not sure if you qualify, just apply and let us do the work on determining the eligibility. The process is very simple. I like to try to paint a picture to the best of my ability, so it kind of walks you through each step of the process. First and foremost is starting with a very quick and brief application on nextleveljobs.org. If you're a slow typer, it might take you 5 minutes. If it takes you longer than 5 minutes, you're taking too long and thinking too hard into the questions that are being asked. So give me a call, talk to Noble County Economic Development. We'll walk you through that process. The point of contact that is listed on the application on nextleveljobs.org will receive an introduction email to me from Department of Workforce Development. In this email, there will also be 3 requests. One being the HR job description, and the job description is whatever job description for those individuals that will be receiving the training, the salary range for the individuals that will be receiving the training, and the training plan. Please don't get held up on training plan. A lot of companies struggle when they hear the term training plan. Reality is, if you're already doing in-house training, you call it something different. You might call it standard operating procedures. You might call it work instructions. If you're ISO certified, you have a training checklist in order to keep that certification. There's your training plan. So keep all of that in mind and don't get held up on that training plan. We can work through that together. If you don't already have a developed training plan, I will be happy to sit down and work through that training plan so that way it's at least structured and we can get you through the process quicker. Once all of that is completed, you'll send that back to me. I take a look at it, make sure it satisfies what Department of Workforce Development's review committee is looking at. I'll tie it up in a pretty little bow and submit it down to DWD requesting approval and review. Once it's reviewed and approved, a very simple agreement summarizing the details of the application that you submitted will be sent out to the point of contact, and both parties then signed. The company will sign and Department of Workforce Development will sign, which then locks that money in specifically for your organization. We will also ask for a W-9 and direct deposit information since the reimbursement comes in the form of direct deposit. And then once the individual completes training or you're ready to submit the reimbursement, you will complete the invoice for processing. And the payment to employer, as I mentioned, is a direct deposit and is a net 35. So it's a pretty quick turnaround. They try to process it a little bit faster than that, but the 35 days gives them a little bit of cushion. So some important changes and dates to keep in mind, especially with this expansion. If you've taken advantage of this program in the past, there have been a couple of temporary changes. Previously, there was a 6-month retention requirement that has temporarily been waived. So now employers can submit their invoice as early as 40 hours of training is completed. So once an individual starts training, 40 hours later, you can submit that invoice. Employers, because this is a temporary expansion, must submit invoices by November 30th. I also want to make sure that you're aware that this is the Monday after Thanksgiving, so my personal suggestion would be to have those invoices submitted prior to the company contact leaving for Thanksgiving break, or even a couple of days prior to leaving for Thanksgiving break, just to allow us some opportunity to review and make any corrections as needed so that information can be processed as you're spending time with your family and loved ones. If it's not submitted by this deadline, it is very possible that the reimbursement will not be processed and will not get reimbursed. So I strongly encourage you, if you're taking advantage of this program, to make sure you put that date on your calendar so it's not forgotten. The funding is only available for a limited time, so the expansion to this program is only good until November 30th for reimbursement. The program is good until December 30th, but that gives the Department of Workforce Development the 30 days for processing. So a couple of points of reiteration. This is a short-term temporary change to how program has historically ran, so keep that in mind. If there is a continuation after the start of 2020, these changes will more than likely not be honored. They might go back to the way that they historically ran. This funding will go fast. Companies have benefited from this program for the past couple of years, and the funding does go fast. So jump on it as quickly as you can. I can't stress this enough. This is the most simple and painless process and program I've ever worked in all of the grants that I've worked in. So keep that in mind. There is no catch. It's simple. It's painless. We work together to make this happen for you. And as always, myself, Noble County Economic Development, we're here to support you, provide guidance, or answer any questions throughout the process. So if you haven't already, start now by applying at nextleveljobs.org. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Noble County Economic Development, again, for allowing me to be here today. Have a great day, everyone.
Don't leave us yet. I am back to just put up some closing information here. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we do have some dates and some time set aside and are planning to set appointments, and working with both the Freedom Academy, with Kim at Northeast Indiana Works, and with our office here at the EDC, we're hoping as a team to help you with your training plans as soon as possible. So with that, I'm going to put this up on screen here, that we have set 4 different dates, July 14th, 15th, 17th, and 22nd for appointments. You can ask for an appointment either using that form I mentioned on the FAQ page of our website under Rapid Recovery under COVID-19. You can make a note in there, or you can call our office at 260-636-3800. You may also drop us an email at info@noblecountyedc.com. Again, that website is noblecountyedc.com under the COVID-19 menu. So with that, I think that wraps up our actually second Facebook Live event, since our first one failed this morning, but we sure hope that you stuck with us. And we're going to record this session as well and make it available after today's program. So thank you for joining us. We really appreciate your important contributions to our community and to our local economy. Have a great day.